So while our ultimate goal is to get as much review velocity as possible and as many positive reviews as possible, a cornerstone to an effective review strategy on Amazon is also addressing negative reviews, because negative reviews can have a massive impact on your overall rating as well as conversion rate with customers that are on your listing. So the ultimate goal of this video is really to outline the frameworks you can use to address, change, or remove negative reviews. Something just to highlight the gravity of this. One single one-star review is effectively the equivalent of 5 5-star reviews. So think about that. Let's say that you've got an average review rate of say 3%. So for every 100 orders, 3 people leave you a review. That means that you would need 500 sales in all 5 of those reviews on the normal review rate to hit 5 stars to overcome just one negative review. So it's very, very difficult to overcome the balance of a negative review, and it can have a massive impact on your overall star rating. So the more we can do to either turn around, change, or remove those 1-star reviews legally and align with Amazon's terms of service, the better chance we have to have an overall effective review strategy on Amazon. So it's important to realize here that you need to be very careful about Amazon's terms of service with these strategies. You always need to be professional in your communications with customers and/or Amazon. You never want to incentivize review changes, and you never ever want to mention somebody changing a review, especially if you're communicating within Amazon's messaging platform. Any of this stuff, you just want to look at it like you are riding a very tight line, and Amazon has a pretty zero tolerance policy when it comes to review manipulation. So making improvements, I think that's kind of one thing that we need to recognize. Maybe the reason that you're getting crappy reviews is because your product sucks, or there's something wrong with it, or there's a feature that you fundamentally need to address in a future production run. So don't bury your head in the sand and just think, oh, there's all these stupid customers that don't understand and they're just leaving me bad reviews. Well, there might be a couple of those customers in the mix. If you've got a more systemic problem and there's some consistent issues that your customers are happening that are misaligning with what you're actually representing, you need to understand that and you need to address it. We've already showed you how to look at the voice of a customer CX feedback from customers within Amazon, but another way to do that is to actually analyze your 1, 2, and 3-star reviews for each product. So moving over to Sellerize, again, a lot of these Amazon softwares have the ability to do this, or you can even do it manually on your listing if you want. But I personally use Sellerize. So if you come over here to the reviews dashboard, it'll basically show you all of your products, kind of what the overall review rate's been, kind of details about that. If you wanted to click on an individual product though, it will show you the exact rating, the amount, how many you've gained or lost in the last 30 days, the overall average, and you can kind of see that over time. The other cool thing though is you can actually look here if you want and just look at 1-star reviews as an example. I'm going to go ahead and blur this out because there's some kind of specific stuff on the products here, but you can kind of see here, I could scroll down all these pages and just try to get some ideas to what are the reasons people are leaving poor reviews for this particular product. The other thing that you can actually look at here is common phrases. So these are, again, blocked out sensitive stuff, but this is giving you all single words that tend to be really common in these various reviews. I could go to 2-word phrases as well, 3-word phrases, 4-word phrases. And oftentimes if I look at these, especially as correlated to negative reviews, I can start to find out some themes that are issues with customers. Some of those are quick fixes, right? You might actually just be able to tweak some photos in your listing to address those pain points. Sometimes it's just updating some of the bullets and maybe better prescribing for how customers can use the product in the verbiage. And then there's sometimes some more systemic things that you can actually fix in future production runs to reduce the chances of those negative reviews happening. So the first strategy really with managing negative reviews is just to take an honest look at the data that we have access to as Amazon sellers and addressing that with both our listing and our products. The next is really about the negative review playbook beyond this, right? And there's a number of different things that we can leverage to get in front of negative reviews and make adjustments. First of all, we're going to look at, can it actually be removed due to Amazon policy? The good news is that Amazon actually has policies for buyers as well. And if they violate their review policy per terms of service, we've got some ticketing that we can do to actually have reviews removed. It's not always easy. Amazon usually errs on the side of the buyer, but you can absolutely remove reviews that are misaligned with Amazon's terms of service for buyer reviews. The second is automated negative review messaging. This is a really cool feature that's come out within the last year at Amazon that enables us to trigger a templated message that Amazon creates. So we don't get to customize the message, but we can actually trigger that message when somebody leaves a 1, 2, or 3-star review for us. We can even automate refunds for customers if we want to as part of that process. There's a very manual way to trigger that within Amazon's platform. So again, similar to the automated review requester, I'm going to get into a tool within Sellerize that we leverage to do this on an automated basis. We then do a manual follow-up strategy to this communication via template, and I'm going to show you how we do that within Amazon seller messaging as well. And then finally, we're going to talk again about email management. And again, rooted through all this, similar to the last slide on the right here, do you need to make an improvement? You need to be really thinking about that as part of this overall playbook, because it may be the reason that you've got negative reviews happening in the first place. So first, can an actual review be removed? And there's really 4 categories within Amazon's terms of service for leaving reviews from a buyer perspective that we may be able to tap into to request a review get removed. One is if you can clearly prove that there's a fake review being left. So if you click on a reviewer's profile and you see that they're leaving negative reviews on all competition, including yours, or it just seems like a very sketchy profile that seems to be leaving fake reviews, you can submit a ticket to Amazon to request that review get removed due to that fake review. This is probably the hardest to get removed, and Amazon's kind of the trickiest on this, but it can happen, and I've seen it happen for certain circumstances if you can validate with some various data points. The second is if they're leaving a review that's unrelated to your product. So let's say that we're selling a golf push cart and somebody's leaving something that talks about skin lotion on our listing. Clearly they meant to leave it on another listing, or they made a mistake. We can reference that and have Amazon potentially remove those reviews as well. The third is foreign language. So if it's not a core language of the country with which the product was purchased in, you can have it removed. In the US, English and Spanish are allowed, although sometimes we try with Spanish just to see if they'll remove it. But generally speaking, if somebody left, say, a Russian review on a US purchase, we can say that, hey, that's not benefiting customers because it's in another language that no one understands. We're going to request that it gets removed. And those ones are pretty easy to get removed on the Amazon platform. So foreign language is one. And then the final one, which is honestly quite common, is if it's an Amazon-based issue. So if they're referencing shipping as the reason that they left a bad review, if the product package was empty and didn't have the product, or the product was half used, stuff like that. Typically that is something within Amazon's operations that caused the issue. We can reference that, reference the review, submit a ticket, and oftentimes that can get that negative review removed from your listing. And then just note here that we have about a 20 to 30% success rate if they're kind of within these terms of service violations. So it's not perfect, but if you can get 2 or 3 for every 10 negative reviews removed, again, think about that in terms of that's like 10 to 15 positive reviews added to your listing. So it can absolutely have an impact. You can also do this with buyer feedback, although it's less critical. There's an automated button within buyer feedback, which is they're basically not leaving a review on your product, but they're leaving it based on you as a seller on Amazon. If they ever mention a product in the seller feedback reviews, those are very easy to remove using the automated buttons within Amazon's platform. So the process on doing this is we actually search for 3-star or less reviews for a particular listing, and we're going to go ahead and review based on all those criteria. Hey, does it match any of those criteria that are against Amazon terms of service? For those that we do find those issues with, we can actually submit a ticket, copy a link of that actual review, reference in Amazon's language, ideally, why it violates their terms of service policy for leaving reviews, and submit that through Amazon. So that's through the product listings or inventory section, and then the product review selection. So you submit that, and then usually within 24 to 48 hours, you're going to hear back from Amazon. If they reject it, they're going to tell you they reject it. At that point, you're kind of not going to win, so you just got to let those losses happen. But the ones that they do say that they're going to remove, just keep a tight pulse on that. If it doesn't get removed, say in the next 3 to 5 days, you can follow up, reference the case ID, and just say, hey, we were told that this was going to be removed. It's been 4 days. Can you please check to make sure that this gets removed? So you got to make sure that you keep a pulse on it and follow up as necessary. So when you're on a listing, you can actually click on Sellerize's Chrome extension. It's going to pop up this menu here, and you can actually go to the review downloader. And then it's going to say, hey, do you want to load all current product reviews? If this is actually your product and it's linked to the account, when you click this, it's going to enable you to actually download a spreadsheet with all of the reviews scraped on this particular listing. So to show what it actually looks like when you export it, this is kind of a view on one of my products as an example. I've obviously blacked some stuff out so you don't see that. But you can basically just come to this rating section here, and then we can just go ahead and deselect the 4s and 5s. And then these are all the active 3, 1, and 2-star reviews on this particular product. We even know the order number that Sellerize has been able to match for some of them. It's got the actual username of the reviewer. We can click on that. It's got the title of the review, so we can kind of see if there's any TOS violations in there. And we can see all of this information about the overall review. So if you want to actually export these and kind of analyze them that way really quickly in a spreadsheet, the Sellerize Chrome extension is one way that you can do that. So the next way that we look at removing reviews is actually getting in front of negative reviews using Amazon's own platform and their terms of service compliant messaging platform to send automated negative review messages. So one way to do this is actually going in and manually triggering these messages within the Amazon Seller Central platform. Although it's a daily task that you need to do, it's kind of painstakingly manual. When that feature first came out, I reached out to Deem at Sellerize and said, hey man, we need to automate this somehow. And he was within a week or so able to automate this, which is super cool. So if you come into this review section of Sellerize, you go down to the review puncher. This enables you to set up scripts very similar to the automated review requester feature, but instead of the review requester, anytime we get a 1, 2, or 3-star review, it will trigger that automated templated message within Amazon's platform to send to those customers, basically saying, hey, we want to make it right. So if you come in here to your messages section, this is basically what it looks like when one of these automated templated messages is triggered through that Sellerize review puncher automation. So this is how it reads. Hi customer, seller brand A has a message for you. Thank you for purchasing our product on Amazon. On September 23rd, 2021, you left the following review of our product, and then it actually leaves the review that the customer left here. We'd like to address any issues or concerns you have. Your business is important to us, so please contact us and we'll work to resolve your issue. Best regards, and then brand A. So that's the templated message that Amazon sends out. And despite the fact that it's a canned message and it's still got a relatively low rate of changing those reviews, if you can get like 1 out of every 20 reviews changed as a result of that message, it's certainly worth it. And it's super automated and easy. You literally set it up once within the Sellerize system and then you never have to worry about it again. And then that engine is kind of working behind the scenes on your behalf to help get in front of those negative reviews and at least give you a chance of fixing the customer issue and getting them to reach out to you. One additional step here is to actually do a manual follow-up. So what we do here is that we wait 5 days from when that original automated message is sent out. But because it appears within the messages section within your Seller Central account, you can actually manually follow up with that customer and order number and type in a custom message if you wish. And we have some templates that we basically set up for each product. Some of them have very common like setup issues or pain points, and we'll call those out specifically within those templates. Some of them are a little bit more generic, and we just kind of offer to replace the product if the customer wants us to address it that way. I should note that there could be some risk with this strategy, especially because you're messaging customers within Amazon's platform. However, up to this point, because it's very customer centric, we're trying to help the customer out and address their issues. We've personally not seen any issues with this. Again, we're not going to ask them to change a review. We're not mentioning review incentives or anything like that. We're just trying to see if we can actually improve the customer experience. When you err on that side and from that lens, Amazon tends to not have an issue with it. But because you are messaging them manually, just note that there is some risk with this strategy. So going back to Seller Central, just so you can see this, if you come down to the select template, we basically have these at the product level, these custom responses that we can send here. So to companion on this automated message, we'd basically select it. Let's just pretend that it was selected here. And then I can go ahead and send that message manually. So we have somebody on the team that manages customer service that actually does this on a daily basis. It goes in and companions 5 days after those automated messages are sent out, and they manually send. I've got a couple templates here just to kind of see some examples of how we've done this with some of our products. This is one where we have a known issue that requires some setup hassle for some customers. So we just go through how to overcome that with this particular product. And this is a template, again, that we've automated within those templated messages in Seller Central. Here's an example of a second one. I'll just read it out. So, hi, customer name. My name is Adam, and I'm the founder of FBA Blueprint. I wanted to follow up on your issue personally in the hopes that we can make it right. First, I'm truly sorry for the frustration and issues you've had with our product B. We've already started the process of refunding your order, and we would be more than willing to send a replacement or offer any of our products to make it right. Beyond the refund coming your way, please let us know if you'd like a courtesy replacement or if there's anything else we can do. Thank you. Again, that's going above and beyond what the normal customer experience for folks is. They receive this email, this manual follow-up email from us, they read that, they're going to be thinking, that's pretty damn cool. And they might take us up on the offer. They might simply just be happy that we sent the email. They might actually respond and say, hey, that was really awesome. That's amazing customer service. But we're basically setting the tone that we're not the kind of company that just wants to leave them with a poor experience. Now, is everybody going to change their review as a result of this sequence of messages? Of course not. But if we can get, again, 1 or 2 out of every 20 negative reviews to change as a result of this, and it's fairly terms of service aligned, that puts us in a much better space to get in front of these negative reviews. So we'll include this negative review follow-up template if you want to incorporate it into your own brand. And then the final thing again is email management. So oftentimes customers may search for you on the web. They may not contact you through Amazon's messaging platform. In fact, many customers don't even know how to do that. So they might just search for your website and then actually hit you up through your contact form on your website page. And then it's going to hit your email inbox. So just making sure again that you've got a strategic approach to dealing with customers that are having issues and that they email you. You want to try to use this opportunity to turn their negative experience around. I err much more on the side of giving refunds or sending replacements, even if we don't think the customer's right. Because first and foremost, it prevents the chances of somebody actually leaving a negative review based on their poor experience. They're reaching out because they want your help. And B, if they've already left a negative review, it gives us another shot again of changing their experience. And oftentimes, if you really meet a negative experience with positive service, even customers that have left a negative review will voluntarily go on their own without even you saying anything and adjusting those negative reviews.